Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, or Mark Zuckerberg. Their names are always mentioned when people talk about the world's super rich. But in this video, we want to introduce you to 5 people whose unimaginable wealth is unknown to the public. You can expect a man who spent $100 million on a single wedding, a head of state who is said to own more than 700 cars, a luxury entrepreneur who hardly anyone knows by name, and a 36-year-old who owns 17 palaces. Let's start with number 5, a man everyone knows, but whose fortune is quite secret. We are talking about Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. Officially, he gets only about 280,000 euros a year for his work. But in truth, this income is just a little pocket money. Over the years, Putin has built up excellent relationships with Russia's most powerful and richest entrepreneurs and is said to have stakes in many successful companies. For example, he owns shares in huge oil companies and is allegedly involved in numerous other businesses. In the energy company Surgutneftegas alone, which is worth $20 billion, Putin is said to control 37% of the shares. That would make Putin an instant billionaire. Though Russia's ruler himself says he lives in a 77 square meter city apartment and otherwise owns only an older Russian compact car. The Russia expert Karen Dawisha and many other persons estimate, however, that Putin's statement is not only a lie, but he should possess at least a fortune of $40 billion and lives accordingly. Some insiders even said that Putin owns about $200 billion, making him the richest person in the world. Vladimir Putin is said to have spent his money on various luxury objects. For example, he is said to own a watch collection worth $700,000, a huge art collection, and a total of about 20 palaces and properties. Besides, he is also said to own more than 700 cars, 4 yachts, and over 40 airplanes. According to Russia expert Bill Browder, Putin's wealth is also said to be in hedge funds or Swiss bank accounts. According to Browder and Wikipedia, Putin also owns this exorbitant summer residence on the Russian-Finnish border that cost $1 billion to build. The palatial building is strictly shielded from the public and features, among other things, a pool with gold-plated tiles and a helipad. We come to someone who could be called not only the wealthiest person in the world, but the richest person in history. And we're talking about Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Although there is much speculation about his exact wealth, one thing is certain. He owns the company Saudi Aramco with his family. The oil company is considered the most valuable company in the world, with a market value of 1.9 trillion euros. Since his father, King Salman, is too old to continue running the business, bin Salman already has control over the incredible financial empire and regularly treats himself to the most spectacular possessions thanks to his incredible fortune. For example, he bought an 18th century French chateau for $300 million, modernizing it with a large spa area, gilded doors, and a huge aquarium with real sharks and fountains that can be controlled via smartphone. He also owns the Serene, a $500 million super yacht, considered one of the most luxurious yachts in the world. But one item on this yacht is almost as expensive as the entire yacht, and that is the painting Salvator Mundi by Leonardo da Vinci. The painting is the most expensive work of art that has ever been sold, and bin Salman caused quite a stir with his purchase of the work. Bin Salman has declared that he wants to exhibit the painting in the Louvre in Abu Dhabi. We continue with number 3, and a person whose products everyone knows. We are talking about the Frenchman Bernard Arnault. Although this name probably means something to only a few people, Arnault is one of the wealthiest people in the world. To be more precise, he is the 3rd richest person in the world after Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, and the wealthiest person in Europe. The Frenchman, born in 1949, is said to own a total of $76 billion. The businessman has been the majority owner of the company behind the French fashion and perfume brand Christian Dior since 1985, which is said to be worth around $30 billion. He also owns significant shares in the luxury goods group LVMH, which owns over 70 brands. In addition to Louis Vuitton and the champagne brand Moet, the group also owns Celine, Hublot watches, Fendi, Marc Jacobs, and Tiffany. By the way, Bernard Arnault started accumulating wealth with something completely different. Because his father was a real estate entrepreneur, he initially built vacation homes in France and the US, and then began investing more and more money in the luxury groups in the 80s. Arnault prefers to spend his money on art and owns a large collection of contemporary works. In addition, he owns a huge vineyard, luxurious real estate, a gigantic yacht, and a private plane, which may not be missing from a billionaire, of course. Let's move on to number 2, and a man who presents himself in public as a communist, but in reality, lives an incredibly luxurious lifestyle, while a large part of his people suffer from hunger. This man is Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un has been the country's sole ruler since his father's death, and rules it in an authoritarian manner. The wealth of Kim Jong-un is much higher than one would expect in such a poor country. North Korea's leader owns 17 palaces, a private jet, and a 30-meter luxury yacht. Although he outwardly rejects the European lifestyle, Kim Jong-un also owns over 100 luxury cars, most of which he imported from Europe. He generally likes to import luxury items such as pianos or fine spirits from abroad. As if all this were not enough, he also owns a huge hotel with restaurants, nightclubs, and casinos, which is said to have cost over 600 million euros to build. In addition to all these luxury goods, Kim Jong-un owns a private island. After former basketball star Dennis Rodman, whom Kim Jong-un adores as a fan, once visited there, he said that the island was like Hawaii or Ibiza, with the difference that only Kim Jong-un lives here. That lifestyle consumes a lot of money. Kim Jong-un spends $500 million per year. In total, his fortune is estimated at over $4 billion. Although there are, of course, no official figures. Since all of North Korea is shielded from the outside world, there is also virtually no footage from the country that the government itself does not publish. On number 1, there is again a man whose name probably means something to the fewest: Mukesh Ambani. Mukesh Ambani is an entrepreneur from Mumbai, India, who is the CEO of the largest private company in the entire country. This is called Reliance Industries, is mainly active in the areas of oil production and textiles, and was founded by his father. Of course, one can imagine that much money is earned in these areas, but how much private wealth it has brought Mukesh Ambani so far is nevertheless unbelievable. The entrepreneur is said to own $55 billion, and thus makes him rank 13 of the wealthiest people on Earth. However, the 63-year-old not only knows how to earn a lot of money, but also how to spend it. When his daughter got married 2 years ago, he financed a wedding for the bride and groom that was unique even by the standards of rich Indians. The celebration lasted a whole week, and he had 5,100 guests flown in by private jets, who were taken to the city's finest 5-star hotels in more than 1,000 luxury limousines. Among the guests were also celebrities, and an app was programmed so that everyone could keep track of all the events during the wedding week. The entertainment highlights of the wedding also included a performance by singer Beyoncé. All this cost the billionaire an incredible $100 million, making the celebration the most expensive wedding in human history. Mukesh Ambani also makes a point of living well, and that's an understatement, of course. Since 2010, he's been living in the world's most expensive and largest private residence. The luxury property is called Antilia and has a full 27 floors that stretch 173 meters high. It cost $1 billion to build, and even though it looks like a house containing many different apartments, the entire building is just for Ambani himself. In addition to 37,000 square meters of living space that the entrepreneur uses with his wife and 3 children, there will be a movie theater, several swimming pools, a jacuzzi, a solarium, a yoga studio, a dance room, hanging gardens, and 3 helipads, among other things. If Ambani ever gets too hot, he can cool off in a special ice room where snow falls from the ceiling. That was our video on some of the richest people in the world. Subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed the video, and see you next time here at Wise Fool.